And then we're just going to wait for Facebook to give us the thumbs up here. And there we go. We are live. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to another fantastic episode of Dream Chasers Interviews with the Future. I'm your host, Adam Carswell, and today I am joined by a good friend of mine. It's been an absolute pleasure getting to know him over the years. I can't believe it, Stuart. It actually hasn't been a year yet, but
it's not been a year
yet. Closing in on it. Stuart Heath, the CEO and founder of Harvard Grace. Stuart's based out of Tennessee, which definitely got some questions for him here today as him and I were talking kind of before the interview in the green room. There's a lot of going on in Tennessee that I'm just fairly interested in. So I'm happy to have you here. And I almost forgot to say too, hi Grandma, hope you're tuned in. But yeah, Stuart, if you could just kind of fill in the gap here, tell our listeners a little bit about how you and I got connected, and then your kind of like your life story in five minutes or less, if you can.
Oh yeah. That's easy. Well, you and I got connected through Raise Masters, mastermind that I joined back in the spring. It's been a tremendous investment for me. I've never done a mastermind before, and it's been a very pleasant surprise. It's pioneered and engineered by Hunter Thompson, and the quality of the content and really the quality of the people that are in this group is just top notch. I have already more than made back my investment in Raise Masters, and I'm only half a year into it. I'm very bummed I didn't get to make the meeting in Austin. I bought my ticket.
And I think I saw your name on the roster. Yeah.
Yeah, I was on the roster. I bought the ticket, the first day that you could buy tickets, and had the travel and had to cancel them for family conflicts. But I have my ticket to the January event as well. And so I'm going to catch up and meet some of these good folks in person.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I guess I got you when you say the January event. It's like my marketing instincts are kicking in. We got to say,
please, please. I don't want to say it wrong. So.
Oh no, you're good. Yeah, the Intelligent Investors Real Estate Conference.
There you go.
Go to IIREC2022.com for more information there. Continue.
Yes. Yeah, and if for no other reason, it'll be in LA in January. So, it'll be quite cold and miserable here then. So it's just a good excuse to get out of town. But anyway, going back to my life story, I'm born in Birmingham, but for the most part raised in Middle Tennessee, where I still live today. I'm a CPA. So I've practiced at a CPA practice up until about 2011. I left practice at that time and took jobs with other companies. So I wasn't doing public accounting. I was being COO and CFO for other companies until about 2017. At which time I left, and I wanted to go back and do what I had always enjoyed doing as a CPA, and that's being a fractional CFO for small businesses. And so I'd actually formed Harvard Grace in 2010 before I took a job, but continued to run some side hustle gigs as CFO along the way. Did that full time in 2017. And now have a staff of 4, and where we are fractional CFOs for about a dozen different companies right now. Strangely, as it happens, a lot of these companies have some real estate piece to them, so I end up managing their real estate for them as well as being fractional CFO. Back at about year 2000 through 2009, I became an active real estate investor. I started out with duplexes and condos, and I ended up with about 200 rental units. and also got into home building and development. We bought a condo development of 72 units and rehabbed those, and did some office development there in Cool Springs and Franklin. And I got caught by the financial crisis and ended up having a financial reversal. I think it's the polite way to say that these days. So have lived through that, have learned a lot of what not to do. That basically comes down to the E word, equity, if you would. Because back in the day, real estate prices were going up, and I would buy one thing today, wait a year, refinance that property, pull cash out, buy another property, and then just stair step that. And then one day the parade was over. So there was a reversal of property values and sort of the whole house of cards. Say all that, with equity, there's probably $10 million of real estate in gross values, and anywhere from $300,000 to $500,000 of equity, cash in, probably would have allowed me to ride it out to the other side of the financial crisis. So, but I was doing everything, really with no cash, and it was fun while it lasted, but it didn't last.
So I mean, the experience checkbox check. Yeah. You've covered a lot of different sectors, especially when it comes to real estate and finance. I'm curious to know, you got to throw this out there.
Sure.
Are you currently for hire as a CFO? Someone listening right now is like, hey, you know what? I need a guy like Stuart. Yes, you are.
Yeah, I am. I've actually picked up 2 clients from Raise Masters just this year, and which was not expected at all. But yes, we are selective about our clients, because as CFO, we go on the inside and we partner with the owners, and we become part of the management team. And so there's got to be a cultural fit there, as you would want with anybody on your team. Sure. So it's really not a consulting thing. We've come in, it's part-time. We're your CFO, we're just part-time. So you just got to know it's a shared resource. So, I mean, we're in there, but yes, we are expanding, and I will talk to everyone. Would love to talk. I mean, part of it is I just like to, I love talking to people and finding out how they make money. So, and as a CPA, I've liked
anyway,
that
right?
for 35 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, yeah. Thank you for the clarity there. And
Sure.
Guys, if you want to reach out to Stuart, I just dropped the link on the live feed here on Facebook, and we're going to get your information for sure in the show notes and by the end of the interview. But to shift gears here a little bit, I was meditating before our call today, and I'm like, man, what do I want to know? Yeah. Talking to Stuart, I can get you to kind of share things that I think that our viewers and listeners would want to hear, and that's always fun. But I'm like, man, what about? I'm really curious and learning more personally about Tennessee. Texas and Florida are the most moved 2 states in the U.S. right now, as far as I can see, as far as the numbers show, and for good reason. Meanwhile, there's a little diamond in the rough there that I think a lot of people still aren't paying attention to, and that is the state of Tennessee. Maybe the world is waking up to a little bit, but what is so compelling about Tennessee? I kind of know a little bit, but just from the grassroots, tell us what is so compelling about Tennessee right now that is bringing this, influx of new people to the state.
Well, the short answer is, quality of life. Yeah, I'm a little bit, maybe not qualified. I've lived here my whole life, so I go to downtown Nashville, and see things that, I hadn't seen before. And what's funny is the parts of town that I was never allowed to go to when I was a kid are now they've been completely redeveloped. And now that's where all the great restaurants are. And Nashville has always had a very multifaceted economy. And I think Tennessee's probably a little more popular than what the what the charts and the media may be caught up to. Yeah, because I think we're either 3 or 4 of the most moved to places, at least from the people who are leaving California.
Right.
We get new corporate headquarters announcements about every week, and we talk about Tennessee, the whole state's great, but it's mainly Middle Tennessee. It's mainly Nashville. Facebook has put a big operation. Amazon, we were in the running a year or so ago for HQ2, which nobody really knew was actually HQ 3, 4, and 5.
Which is also I got to say, it's kind of funny how HQ2 just so happened to land right next to the nation's capital. They're not.
That was fascinating, wasn't it? And I actually thought it might go to Huntsville because Jeff Bezos has a rocket engine plant down there through his Blue Origin company. But Amazon, even after HQ2, has put an additionally large distribution center and administrative center here. And then I'm not even sure what it is. They announced something else last month that they're bringing. So, I mean, that's about 15,000 jobs. Oracle has moved a ton of people to Nashville. So a lot of it are people coming with jobs, but we've been a healthcare center for a long time. We've been of course, music city, if you're into country music. And what I can't quite understand, but I guess it is fun, is, it's now a destination, just sort of a fun weekend to come to Nashville. And I go down there to downtown and I see pedal taverns going by, where people are pedaling and they're serving beer going down Broadway. And it's like, what in the world is this? But people come, for the live music scene, and Lower Broadway is it's a destination where people like to go and have fun. And most of the year, it's very pleasant weather. There'll be a few weeks in January where it's too cold to walk around, but most of the time it's just a pleasant place to be. And it's a really good quality of life. I think conventions come here. We have the Opryland Hotel and Convention Center, which, if I'm not mistaken, is the largest area under one roof in the country.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And they keep expanding it. And so, we hold very large conventions and meetings here. Yeah. But it actually goes beyond Nashville. Nashville is certainly the impetus.
Yeah. And you're right about the Nashville piece too, which I'm not thinking about until now, but there's still other major cities in Tennessee that probably haven't experienced this Nashville touch yet. Memphis definitely being one of them. I mean, the only thing that comes to mind for me with Memphis is reputationally. I know right now it's known for crime. I do know it's also known for they have some type of maybe train station or something where it comes to industrial transactions that happens there. It's like the intersection of a bunch of major railways, something like that. So anyways, what are your thoughts on the other Tennessee markets? I do want to talk about, I know like Murfreesboro is one, and there's all these other suburbs around Nashville, but do you think that like Knoxville, Memphis, the other major Tennessee cities are going to see a little bit of a ripple effect in the next maybe decade?
Oh, I think all the major cities in Tennessee are having significant growth, not quite measuring up to Nashville, but as most southern cities are. Birmingham, to the south, massive growth. Huntsville, in between Nashville and Birmingham, massive growth. And there's different reasons for each, but Chattanooga is having a lot of growth. And again, a very pleasant city to be in. It doesn't have the industrial attraction or the entertainment attraction, but it is really close to the mountains over there. Knoxville is perhaps one of my favorite big city in Tennessee. Just if you like the mountains, it's just a hop, skip over to the Smoky Mountains, Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, and again, very pleasant place to be. But Nashville has it all. It's got professional sports. I'm
waiting to see when a baseball team and I feel like an NBA team and a baseball team are destined for Nashville? Like it's a matter of
I
time.
think so. And we've got the facilities. We have hockey and we have football. And, all of that, I guess, adds to the mixture of what's in Tennessee, what's in Nashville. We've got 7 or 8 different colleges in Nashville. Vanderbilt, which is a member of the SEC. So, they're not always the most competitive in football, but all the major programs come to Nashville to play Vanderbilt every
In SEC,
year.
we're not talking about the guys that are regulating your real estate deals. We're talking about
We're talking about the real SEC.
the real. There we go. That's how I know you're from
Southeastern
Nashville. Nice. I
Right.
haven't taught college football in a while, partially probably because I live in Canada now. But real quick, how's college football going right now? I think I saw Georgia's #1. Are any of the Tennessee teams contending this year?
Well, Tennessee, the Tennessee Vols they've been coming back from a real tough slump, and actually their defense looks pretty good to me. I'm an Auburn fan. I
Okay.
went to Auburn,
Oh wow.
and I'm glad we don't play Tennessee.
Were you there when Bo Jackson was there?
Actually, I was.
What?
Yeah,
Yes. He's my favorite athlete of all time. I think Bo Jackson's the greatest athlete ever, personally. That's awesome.
I saw Bo Jackson and Herschel Walker play in games against you for 2 years.
I've been told that I'm related to Herschel Walker too. Papa Carswell, you can do the research on that one, but
he's running to be a senator of Georgia now. So,
is he really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. He announced officially maybe a month ago, and he's already racked up so much money for his campaign coffers.
Sure, I'm sure.
I will be surprised if he's not the next senator. There was one runoff they did last year, so I think he's going to run against that seat that's coming open next year. So,
you and I, some other time, we're gonna have to talk about Bo Jackson. So that's awesome.
Yeah, he is one of my favorite people, I was 1 year ahead of him. So,
Okay.
But yeah, an incredible athlete. He also played baseball for Auburn.
Right. I mean, he was baseball, football. I think he even did track and field while he was there.
He did.
Broke every record,
Yeah, he probably still holds a lot of them. I mean, I just remember walking to class. Some days we just stop off at the baseball field, and you just see a track meet. I mean, when he comes up to bat, I mean, it was basically a home run every time.
Love it.
To see somebody that large run that fast. But I mean, that was what was amazing with Herschel Walker and Bo Jackson. I mean, just on the same field, both of them just destroying defenses. Okay. But we digress. So,
well, I'm happy. I didn't realize that you were into any type of athletics. So it sounds like you are a football guy.
I am an SEC football fan.
Okay.
And sometimes SEC basketball fan. I don't even really call myself a sports fan because there's so much I just don't pay attention to. But I follow SEC football.
Yeah, and Tennessee's where Hunter went, and coming to mind right now. I know Peyton Manning also went there.
Yep. So, yep. I mean, Tennessee. I mean, all the years I've grown up, Tennessee has been a perennial power of the SEC, but it's been down for a while, and I think they're on their way back. I think they're gonna surprise some people this year, and they're gonna beat up some people next year.
You heard it on Dream Chasers first, folks.
That's my prediction.
How about so you said quality of life is definitely a perk there, and compared to other states, observationally, it's
low taxes.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to get to next. So let's cut into it. I mean, there was something recently in Tennessee's legislation, I believe, that was passed, or something with taxes where it's kind of on that Florida and Texas level now. What was that?
Yeah. Well, Tennessee has never had much of an income tax. People used to say Tennessee doesn't have an income tax, but they have an income tax that's called the Halls tax, which the legislature, and it's been signed, is now being phased out. And it was a simple 6% flat rate tax on interest and dividends. Not all interest, not all dividends. It's very complicated to calculate. But mainly it was a tax on retirees. Because rich people could figure out how to do a corporate structure and get around all that kind of stuff. But so it's basically a tax on grandmas. And it never generated a whole lot of money. So the legislature finally saw the light and just, let's get rid of this thing. And so Tennessee will soon be a state without any income tax. We do have a corporate income tax, that hits LLCs and corporations. So the next thing we got to go to work on them on is that corporate tax is called the F&E, the franchise and excise tax. The franchise tax of that equation makes it a little expensive to hold real estate inside an LLC or a corporation, because what they make you do is they capitalize the value of the property. So if you buy a $10 million building, you're going to have a tax on that at a rate of 0.0025 per year, and it's not a killer.
But
it's a different tax than a lot of other states have. So.
Right. And is there, with your experience, is there a way to position yourself to not let that affect you when it comes to potentially investing in Tennessee?
You can use a different structure. I actually got to go back and check whether or not that applies to a limited partnership. It does not apply to an individual. It does not apply to a general partnership. I have to check on LPs. So you can pretty universally switch between an LLC and an LP, but I think it does. There are exemptions to that rule if your corporation, that your entity that holds real estate is 80% or more owned by family. So there are some exemptions, but they're fairly limited. They're not going to work for us doing syndicated business. So.
Nice. And then I got to know for all my crazy freedom lovers out there, and personally, actually, so I don't have any firearms or guns or anything, but I know Florida and Texas are known for being more friendly. And actually, in my recent trip to Texas, I had a moment I'll never forget. And someone said, "Adam, do you know what? Like people normally don't rob gas stations in Texas. Do you know why?" I'm like, no. It's like because there's a gun behind every register. You don't mess with Texas. I was like, that's brilliant. I kind of like that. So I'm sure there's some people from this California movement too that are interested in knowing, what does that look like? Is Tennessee favorable when it comes to like gun laws? I'm probably not using the right terminology.
No, yeah, it's very favorable. But first, let me say, there would be no Texas without Tennessee. If you go back to your history,
oh wow,
the reason we're the volunteer state is because when it was still the Republic of Texas, many volunteers came from Tennessee to go down there and fight Mexico for Texas, and it carried the day. So
wow.
So we like to remind them, they talk about everything's big in Texas, and we just want them to remember there's no Texas without Tennessee.
I like that because I've never looked into why Tennessee was known as the Volunteers for like the football or the school, the university.
And at the time, Texas was a different country. It was the Republic of Texas. So,
right.
The Lone Star State. So, but yes, Tennessee is very open. We now have what's called open carry. For the last 10 or so years, we had a carry permits where you took a class. I have one. I don't carry, but I have the permit. And now that's we don't even need the permit. It's just open carry, and you can just assume that at least every other person is carrying in Tennessee. So we're very
nice.
So I think convenience store theft will be declining, even from its low levels. So.
Right. Because I don't know. I'm just such a firm believer in the headlines and not telling the truth. And call me crazy, guys. Anyone out there if you want, but I feel like an environment like that actually encourages more security. And the bad guys, wherever the bad guys are, they're always going to find a way to get their hands on something they shouldn't have their hands on. So that's cool.
Well, the statistics bear you out. and where there's open carry, there's less crime. So
there you go. There you go. So I'm trying to think of some more, maybe like some more real estate nuggets for those who are interested in investing in Tennessee. We'll say Nashville in particular, because we talked a lot about Nashville so far. It is kind of getting to that, from my observation, Austin, Texas level, where it's like, okay, everyone knows there's opportunity there. What's the next, market geographically near Nashville that no one's really paying much attention to? Also, without, if there's a certain market that you're looking at, like, oh, I don't want to talk about it.
No, that's fine. I mean, it's all over our website. So
okay.
yeah, there's I like Nashville. There's a lot of opportunity left in Nashville, and there are some great developers. Some of them are raise masters that are working in Nashville. And one of them is actually also doing a deal in Huntsville right now. And that to me is, my company is based in Spring Hill, Tennessee. We're doing an office deal right there in Spring Hill right now. And there's a bypass, big bypass that goes on either side of Nashville, about 20 miles either side, called I-840. And to me, south of 840, down into northern Alabama, through to Huntsville, down to I-565, which is an interstate that cuts across the middle of northern Alabama. And I've just sort of called it the 840-565 corridor. This to me is the market that nobody's talking about. There are a lot of people talking about Nashville, and I'm not saying Nashville's overdone, but there isn't a lot of attention in Nashville. And there's some national interest in the Huntsville market too. But there is pressure coming up the north from Huntsville, and then you got pressure coming down south from Nashville. And so there's some little gems in between these markets that there's going to be great infill projects and value add projects and new development projects, I suspect, for the next 20, 25 years, longer than I will be at it. So and Huntsville is a really interesting town in itself. But I can give you the Huntsville story in about a minute if you want. So,
okay. Well, yeah. I want to hear that. And then also just how much distance is between the two cities?
Sure. About 100 miles.
Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't realize they were that close. Just because you hear two different states, you think that they could be far from each other, right?
Right. And so Huntsville, back in 2008, was a city of a couple of 100,000 people. NASA was built, is based there. There's a big research center there called the Redstone Arsenal, which is an Army facility. And literally, Huntsville boasts the highest number of PhDs per capita than any other city in the nation. Yeah. And literally, because they're rocket scientists.
It's kind of funny because I think internationally, I know my wife was as I'm kind of educating her on American geography. She had it in school, but we're in Canada. So she's like, isn't the reputation with Alabama to be like, I don't know, like stupid people? And now you just say that. It's like they have a reputation for having the most PhDs. That's kind of funny.
Well, Huntsville does, yeah. I'm born in Alabama, and I'm not gonna combat the reputation. So
no, I think it's changing definitely now.
I think everybody's got their share of stupid people, but
well, that's Newfoundland, where we live. Newfoundland in Canada is kind of the punchline for.
Oh, is that right?
Newfoundland is kind of like the Alabama of. I'm gonna have some people here definitely mad at me for saying that, but it's comparatively not too far off.
I love it. Well, so in 2008, with the Base Realignment Commission, the nonpartisan commission that realigns military bases around the whole country. So about 4 bases were closed, and they consolidated the entire Army's purchasing effort in Huntsville. So you had several new commands come in 2008. In 2012, they added some more. And in addition to that, there's been more and more research being done. The Star Wars under Ronald Reagan was done in Huntsville. The missile defense initiative, and there's just all kinds of secret stuff that people are working on down there that they can't talk about.
Right.
But with the impetus of the additional military commands, has brought lots of soldiers and contractors, and now the Huntsville MSA has increased to about 425,000, since 2008, and now it's industrial because Toyota and Mazda opened up a plant earlier this year. They might have just started an engine plant. They're both making engines. Toyota already had a plant there. Facebook has a major facility there.
Right.
Remington, and going back to guns, they have a major facility there. And because there's a high quality workforce in Northern Alabama. And again, low taxes. Alabama has an income tax, but it's relatively low property values. So it's just a good place to be. So Northern Alabama is, and Birmingham's a cool city too. I mean, there's not.
I just met someone from Birmingham the other day who I was just really impressed with his story. But how much further south is Birmingham from Huntsville?
It's about an hour.
Okay. Yeah.
It's
just pull up my maps here.
Birmingham will be about 3 hours generally from Nashville.
Okay.
So maybe Birmingham's another hour and a half, and it depends on where you're going in Huntsville. It could be an hour or an hour and a half. All of them just really easy to get to. So the infrastructure is good.
Yeah, it's really like wow. Now that I look at it, a little bit of a triangle with Birmingham, Atlanta, and Nashville. But I'm not hearing. Yeah, I mean, Alabama and Tennessee, and Huntsville, Nashville. Those are the hot markets as far as real estate that I keep hearing about. So sorry, I think you were going to say, as far as that opportunity between Huntsville and Nashville, I'm looking at it on a map now.
Yeah.
There's more land on the Tennessee side. So is that kind of where you're focused, or are you looking at anything is there anything north of Nashville really? Or I'm sorry, Huntsville? Not really. So.
Not much, not until you get into the Nashville, and you get down to Murray County, which is 2 counties away from Davidson County, and there are population centers. Now there are opportunities in some of these towns like Tullahoma,
is this showing up right now? Can we see it?
Yeah, I can see that.
It's the first time we've ever done a screen share. Now I think about it on Dream Chaser. So if you're listening on audio, make sure you follow the link in the description to watch this either on Facebook or YouTube.
Yeah, go due north of Huntsville, and I'm right there in Fayetteville. That's where I live.
Okay, I've heard of
in Tennessee,
Okay, yeah.
Fayetteville. Yeah.
And so the Hazel Green and
hugely, they're exploding. They're exploding.
Okay.
Yeah, and have been for several years. Harvest is a big area, so you can see the population centers there with those
definitely
lighter blocks. But there's opportunities in Fayetteville. There's opportunities in Columbia. There's opportunities in Lewisburg and Tullahoma and Winchester, especially if you're a multifamily guy. But these are areas that major developers won't go to. So you can do a strategy to sort of hit them where they aren't. But I wouldn't avoid the big population centers either.
Right.
I'm not that interested in going into Nashville just because I like my 840, 565 envelope corridor there. So,
well, yes, actually, where's that corridor you were talking about? You said.
Okay, zoom in. Let me see if I can.
So I'm in Fayetteville now. Maybe I should have given you the screen controls here.
That's all right. You go north. Drag down up to where you see Nashville. Keep going. Okay. You'll see 840 cutting east to west up there.
This one.
There it is. There it is. Yeah, there's 840 right there. So that cuts through Williamson County, which is one of the richest counties in the nation.
Okay.
And so below that, Thompson Station, Spring Hill, Columbia are all going gangbusters, and with a lot of some suburban office and multifamily opportunities. Murfreesboro has been exploding for years.
Yeah, that's what I've heard of Murfreesboro before. That's why I mentioned it earlier.
Fabulous town. They had a sleepy little college there called Middle Tennessee State University.
That's right.
The leaders over there have turned that into a very significant Tennessee school with great business program. It's just attracting a lot of people living in that area because it's a nice area.
All right. Yeah, I don't know about you. I'm like a geography nerd, even though I didn't know exactly where Birmingham was earlier. I could look at a map all day and just be like, oh, what about here? What about here? What about here?
Well, if I turned my camera around, you'd see maps all over the wall.
Oh, yeah.
I'm with you. I'm with
nice. You. Nice. All right. So what else here? One more thing I want to talk about, because we brought this up when we were just having a chat before we went live, but we're talking about, what is it about the world of podcasting that is kind of creating this new movement of attention? As you kind of said to me, where are the followers, where are the listeners coming from? And you also alluded to this, which is a lot of the information that most of us are looking for. We can't really find it on the news anymore. It's on platforms like this, and you can name a million of them, literally. But I guess I'd like to know, for you, how have you've been, I think you said it was CNBC, you've got it on, someone who's been pretty up to speed on what's happening in the world and with the news. Are you experiencing this change now with podcasting for yourself? Are you?
Yeah, and I guess I'm coming a little late to it, and I'm the older generation, certainly a lot older than you, but and so some of it is just figuring out how to work it into your life, there's huge information. We talked about some of the podcasts that I like to listen to, and they're just, most of them are so rich in data and information. Hunters. And he's such a trendsetter. I think he came out with his first podcast a month or so ago about cap rate compression. Everybody's talking about cap rate compression now. and I heard it on his first, and what a great analysis. And that's real. That's real information that we as sponsors and investors need to know. As I said, I like Ellis's podcast as well. And again, it's on point, and it's just real useful stuff, which to me, I didn't think was even knowable. Even if it wasn't on CNBC or whatnot, I didn't know where to get it. So there's just some really, just a really high quality and a high number of people that are putting out good content right now.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head here, and we'll wind it down. But you said certain things that you didn't even know were knowable, and we're just seeing that happen more and more now in this space. I think. I remember it still is a big deal, but I remember it was a really big deal when Rogan inked his deal with Spotify, and everyone acted kind of like, wow, this is crazy, like so much money, etc., which it is and was. But I think that's just the catalyst for what's coming to this space. There's going to be a lot more talking heads inking crazy deals that people never thought would have happened. And what was once the news channels is, good luck if everything is truly centralized. Good luck whoever's centralizing it, controlling all the podcasters.
Right. This is a further extension in a new medium. Since it started with cable TV, in the 1960s, and then it goes to satellite and all these different channels where you watch what you want to watch, kind of a thing. So niche. So this is just an extension where people are listening to the topics, and people will listen to more than one topic. People will listen to sports podcasts as well as investing podcasts and whatever they want. So it's all media seems to be going niche right now.
Yeah. So real quick, I want to give you a chance to talk a little bit more about Harvard Grace and what you guys are working on right now. If you do have a current offering or anything where you'd be looking to connect with, again, other, I guess, capital raisers or passive investors, I mean, you name it, kind of just tell me where you guys are at and who you're looking to get connected with right now.
Yeah. Thank you. So I've been talking about an office deal privately now for several months, and I had a seller that was stop go. Well, I finally got my contract last Thursday. So hopefully by Friday, we will be launching some marketing for our raise. I've got half the money that we need committed. So we're buying an office building in Spring Hill for just under $4 million. We're going to raise about 1.2 million, and about half of that's committed already. And you know, I'm not counting the soft commitments from all the people who said, yes, send it to me, I'm interested when we get it. So I hope to get that locked up, but we'll talk to anybody and everybody who wants to learn about it and would love to make new acquaintances and meet new people. This has been the major effort of ours this year, and I still think we got a chance to close it this year. The appraisal's already done, and so that's usually the big wait around here, is waiting on the appraisal. That will be our deal for 2021, and hope to do 2 more next year. We're already sort of working on that,
Awesome.
but nothing to talk about there yet.
Okay. Well, yeah, for that deal or any of the ones to come, is the best way to get in touch with you through your email?
My email, you want me to give that to you right now?
Yeah. If you just want to go ahead and say it out, and then our amazing show notes representative, Courtney's going to snag it for you once we put the.
Thank you, Courtney.
Yeah.
Thank you, Courtney. So my email is Stewart, Stewart, .Heath, Heath, at harvardgrace.com.
Okay.
You can also reach me at harvardgracecapital.com, find out how to get in touch with us there. And you can find my Calendly link there and grab some time with me. Would love to talk with anyone who wants to chat.
Yeah, I'm going to drop the email in our Facebook comments as well. So anyone who's tuned in right now or on the replay, that's how you can get in touch with Stuart. And I got to ask you one more fun question here too. And I love kind of the, it sounds like you guys are going left when everyone else is going right. Because I'm sure you've had a few people go, office. Hey,
I know.
Why are you investing in office? Everyone's going that way. And oh man, I love hearing that you guys are doing an office deal. So what's the just quick story right there as to why you're looking at office and why this is good?
The short answer is all real estate is local, is it not? So and going back to the whole media thing, most media is generated out of New York or LA. So I understand why they're not interested in office and they think office is dead. Our building is full, and I had to turn down a bank today because I didn't have space for them. And I'm working on that for them too, because I think I got an angle. But all real estate is local. Most office buildings, in the areas that I'm focused on, are doing quite well. And they're getting lease renewals and rates are going up. What actually happens, we saw some people come to us and we were all trying to figure out what was going on last year. Some people say, okay, we're going to renew, but we want to renew for a short term. Yeah, okay, we got that. So what happens to a short-term lease? Well, your rates go up. And then if they stick around, then they want to renew again. Well, your rate, you've already reset the platform for the rates. So any short-term renewals are probably going to turn into longer-term renewals, but at higher rates. Mm. So the cap rate for Nashville-based, this is just off of a recent appraisal, Nashville-based office buildings is a 7 cap, which compared to multifamily seems high, but it's actually down a point from where it was 2 years ago.
Okay.
And that will change based upon credit quality of your tenant. And in suburban office, you will end up with, perhaps more moms and pops and sort of B credits, maybe not national players and stuff like that. So maybe you're at 7.25. But
Your
full
way.
is full, full is full, and oversubscribed is oversubscribed. So,
Very, yeah. Just a very interesting way to look at it. Definitely a contrarian way with good reason behind it too. So if you guys are anyone out there considering investing in office, just go back and rewind that clip real quick and hear Stuart's take on it. And yeah, Stuart, thank you again so much
Sure.
for investing your most valuable resource with us here today. Your time has been a complete privilege and honor. I think I see behind you, we just finished reading Traction at ASIM Capital. That's a good one. And then I think I see Hunter's book buried in there too. So
Yeah, it's there.
it is there. Yep.
Yeah, I actually help some clients go through the Traction process.
Oh, wow.
On the CFO
Wow.
side. So, love Traction. So
Great book. Great book. Okay.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I got to ask you for your final words of wisdom. What's your go-to nugget for our listeners and viewers here today?
Let me think.
Yeah, take your time. I caught you off guard with this one too.
That's okay. I'll just go back to something we were just talking about. When you're trying to learn something about a new area, maybe it's a type of investment you're not done, seek out those podcasts. There are hundreds of them, and it's a great way to passively learn about a new area that you want to find out about. I imagine that's true among areas outside of investing, but me adding that to my daily life, it's been a tremendous learning experience, because one of the secrets to success is being a lifelong learner. You can't stop learning. So.
Yeah, love it. That's a great nugget too. I've never heard that before, and so guys, keep that in mind. Also, might as well, while you're at it, go ahead and hit that subscribe, smash that follow, like, whatever it is button where you're tuned in on. We really appreciate your time here today with us on Dream Chasers, interviews with the future. So to sign out, I'm Adam Carswell. That's Stuart Heath, the founder and CEO of Harvard Grace. Thank you all for joining us here today. We'll catch you in the next episode. And remember, in all you think, say, and do, take it to the next level.
That's right.